Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so heads up for you tomorrow. What we're going to be doing is, I got a little.
I bet it's not a lab. It's definitely not a lab.
We'll be doing a lab.
Not anytime in the next
Start
6
tomorrow.
months.
Okay?
It'll be after.
We get one lab per quarter semester.
You get one not lab every 9 weeks.
No, you get more than that, but it's just all the interruptions and everything.
And our
else
one
is
lab
junk.
was we literally got to play with chalk.
No, we played with fire too.
That's fair.
Wait, did you guys play with the?
Alright, so for today, we have been on bonds. We got to finalize this thing up. I gave you plenty of time on the Lewis structure practice sheet. I'm going to be sending that answer key out through Remind, so you can be watching for that along with that whenever I do that.
You on mine right now?
I will be telling you when it is due to me and when I'll be taking it up for you to receive your credit.
Is midterm a science credit?
I do not know.
If it is, why? What
else would it
I've
be?
taken 3 sciences.
Okay, and
So if I pass midterm and anatomy, do I not have to do science in year?
Mr. Hall, how awful would it be to say screw it, go to college for 12 years and be a primary care sports student?
great, man.
A lot of school.
It is all good.
12 years isn't a really good decision.
So we have hit up on bonds, okay? So this is kind of like review day, fresh day, and finalize day. So there pretty much is 2 different types of bonds that we've looked at. The first one that we really looked at was ionic bonds. When we talked about ionic bonds, where were these things coming from? They come from atoms
How?
where
He took our note about spacing to heart.
one electron, one atom, gives up electrons to another atom. Can you please throw my daughter's balloon in the back in the class?
Alright.
That's why you're the quarterback and not the punter.
Fun story, I used to punt in middle school and I did have a punt that went straight up and I caught it.
Takes, the electron slash electron forming
I thought we already learned about this.
anions and cations. You did learn about this, but it's been such a long break. Whenever I get the bond quiz, I don't want to hear nobody crying and say, "Oh my God, I remember that was 2 months ago."
I'll be crying anyway.
Yeah, you literally put bombs on the big.
Are you complaining?
Guys,
The
there's
more
just,
questions, 3
just
questions.
let them review.
The more we do this, the less we have to start new stuff.
Oh, I want to do labs.
You're going to do labs. You're doing one tomorrow. You keep complaining 5th period's going to do them, and you're not.
We can't do it anyways.
Okay. No
Stop,
labs.
stop it, please.
Sorry.
Wait, mine's right.
Yes. I do like Mr. Hall.
Is that onion?
The track
So much.
No, in all
to
seriousness,
each other
if this class was this hard and Mr. Hall wasn't the teacher, I would not be taking it.
and form
Yes.
an ionic bond.
It's hard, but it's fun.
So here's the key to this is one has to give up electrons. Whenever they give up these electrons, that means they've lost negative charges, they form a positive charge, they form that cation, and then the one that takes in the electrons gain negative charges, they form the anion. So the cation's positive, anion's negative, opposites attract, they come together, boom. Got an ionic bond forms. When it comes to this, the key to know is ionic bonds are the strongest bond. It's not even debatable. The thing that helps with this is whenever we have ionic bonds that form, they form the crystalline lattice. Where the cations surround the anions surround the cations, thus giving a really strong structure to hang in there. And we talk about covalent bonds. Covalent bonds form from two nonmetals that overlap orbitals, well, they're orbitals. Which brings me a good one. I don't want to hear anybody here talk about my grammar, because reading through y'all's answers on your final and your explanations, I'm like, holy smokes. It's a good thing y'all typing papers and you got all that grammar check and everything in Word, because if not, your English teachers would pull their hair out.
We weren't worried about our grammar.
I was honestly just worried about finishing up
Surviving.
and getting a good grade.
I was worried on
Everything?
everything.
Yep, figured. So shut us
So they overlap their orbitals, sharing electrons. So both can obtain full octet. We talked about this. The thing that we talked about is there's two different types when it comes to. I need a blue marker. So there are two different types of covalent bonds that we deal with. So the first one is a nonpolar covalent bond. Nonpolar covalent bond shares electrons equally. So everything is shared equally. It's like a good marriage. You get married, the preacher says the two become one, yada yada, everybody becomes one. Everything goes into one thing. So we throw everything into one account. Everything gets shared. It's like when me and Mary got married, we start trying to get her name changed, and then we go to the bank. She closes her bank account out, puts her the money from the bank account into my account, and then we look and tell them like we got to get her on the bank account, get her a card, yada yada. Well, everything's shared. So it's like with me and Mary, doesn't matter who makes more money. It's all our money. We all share it. Everything's shared equally.
No, microsystems Morgan. It's based on.
I'm just talking about you. Because like, I got a dud last name. If some girl with a full last name, or like an exotic last name, I'd probably say Thornsberry.
You act like you're like looking at the last names.
Huh?
You act like you're looking at the last names.
Yeah,
That's David picks his.
Yeah, you ain't looking at
I go
it.
into
You're on
a
Tinder like
relationship
swipe,
thinking-
swipe, swipe, oh, swipe.
Full last name.
Suaves.
Suave.
David Suaves just has a nice ring to it. No, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Alright, then we have polar covalents. Polar covalent bonds
You don't want to have the last name. Suave. Adams.
Yeah, it's just seems like
Have-
a different experience.
an atom with high electronegativity that has a greater pull electrons on the shared electrons. That creates partial positive, partial negative charges.
Why are we shaving electrons?
Huh?
Why are we shaving electrons?
Shady. Really, John?
I had to go one.
Thanks, John. Thanks.
Oh my god.
It's a good
Oh
one.
my god, it's getting worse.
It's a good
I
one.
just looked at it.
Sorry, David. My hand has been cramping, and like all the muscles in it have been like wore out because all I've been doing is like grading finals.
Marking exit. What did I
And
got? What'd you
I've,
got?
I've used so much ink. I have to use a purple pen now.
Hold on. I got what making David Logan. You got a 87 out of 130.
87 out of 130, great guess. Right. Anybody else gonna guess on what I got? A 43 is the correct answer.
Out of 130?
Out of 130, it was 43.
Are you okay?
I guessed on all the math ones because I was running out
Did
of
you
time.
pass the semester?
All right. So when you look at this, here's the key. So ionic bonds are the strongest. Polar covalents are second. And then non-polar covalents are third and weak. So it goes strongest is ionic, polar covalents are second, non-polar will be third. Let's do it that way. So it's all about in strength. And the reason, why do you think the polar covalents are stronger than the non-polar covalents?
Because the high electronegativity of
What's the high electronegativity at negative atom cause?
What does it cause?
What does it cause?
It causes partial positives and partial negative charges to form.
And that's what makes it so strong. What do opposites do?
Attract.
Opposites are going to attract. So whenever you look at this, they will always attract. So if you look at water, for example, water is a high electronegative element. Has a high electronegative element. There we go. With that high electronegative element present, what does that mean? So whenever you look at hydrogen and oxygen, who has the high electronegativity?
Oxygen.
Oxygen has it. Oxygen has an electronegativity of 3.5. Hydrogen has an electronegativity of 2.1. You want to know where I'm pulling that information from? It's coming straight from your periodic table. Information is labeled there for you. This high negativity of the oxygen means oxygen's a bully. So this is an abusive relationship.
Oh, well, that's great. Wow.
So hydrogen
Feels just like that.
is with oxygen because oxygen's the dude.
Yeah. He's not stuck.
Okay? So oxygen's with hydrogen. But then what happens is what's being shared. Oxygen's a bully.
He's just taking it.
So in these bonds that we have here on this Lewis structure, this bond, there is sharing happening between the oxygen and hydrogen. But
It's one side.
I do sometimes.
oxygen has a greater pull. Since oxygen has this greater pull on the electrons, what is the charge of an electron?
Negative.
Thank you. Since it has the charge of negative, and there's a greater pull, what does that mean for our oxygen? The oxygen becomes partial negative. Where are the electrons at?
The oxygen.
They're with the oxygen. What's that mean for hydrogen?
It's positive.
Partial positive.
Facts, brother man.
And that's why they're
So now what happens with the partial positives, partial negatives?
They explode.
They're attracted to each other, so they link up.
Go.
Here's what takes place. This is why water has all of its special properties. Because of these partial positives, partial negatives, there is a very strong thing that forms, which takes us into intermolecular forces.
Maybe oxygen is the ability, maybe hydrogen is just like it should be ready.
Yeah. But nobody, nobody.
Now, we talk about intermolecular forces. Here's the thing with intermolecular forces. These are the forces inside of molecules, compounds, that are holding them together. I'm going to tell you something.
You know, David pointed something out. It's always like, what's hydrogen in this abusive relationship, but it's never how is hydrogen.
I think hydrogen might need to see a counselor. They got some deep unresolved issues that they need to talk about.
Maybe we could set on couples therapy or something.
Well, see, that's what you think, but then it gets to like modern day stuff, and you gotta understand how this whole thing.
Also, oxygen just gets to swinging.
The problem is with one of the.
Well, hydrogen
My brother.
is up here.
Merry Christmas.
Just think about how many kids you gonna write up.
Wow.
She gonna write me up.
Oh my gosh. But he can't. Wow. Wow. Anyway, so what happens here is water molecules.
Well, I got the one.
Hydrogen's partial positive.
Yeah.
Oxygen's partial negative. Do you know how everybody blames the dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everybody talks about the guy like they're all bad and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
John, you suck. Yo.
Be real. Now, I'll be honest. It used to be the dude.
In my relationship, my girlfriend beats me, so it's not my fault.
It's not X bait me.
Hydrogen's in a relationship with oxygen, right? She looking.
Oh, wow. The plot thickens. And he was calling oxygen the skank.
Oxygen still is. But the other thing of it is hydrogen is on the other. See, this is the one that breaks out. Please don't name names if you know this type of relationship.
They
You
are
know some
all
people.
skanks.
Okay? But you got the couple that are together, but they're like cheating on each other. And then like this one finds out that this one's cheating, and this
Actually-
one blows their top and gets all mad at the other one.
Actually, they just broke up, so they're not, oh, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Stop. Okay, you're about to ruin the video.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
Here's what happens. On the chemistry side of this, the intermolecular force, we have the strongest intermolecular force that forms. You should have heard about this in your biology class. You did hear about it.
No, I
You had a
didn't.
good biology teacher.
If I heard about it, I
I
would
actually, don't remember my biology
Mr.
teacher.
Hall.
A lot of people
Yes, we
would.
do. It was Professor Woodrum. The one that looked like, oh.
She's talking her 10th grade year.
See, I didn't know. Our biology teacher last year looked
I
like
don't remember her.
Miss Frizzle.
Hydrogen bonds.
Like she was gonna take us on a school bus far away.
If you have not heard of hydrogen bonds before, let me give you the simple breakdown for what hydrogen bonds are. This is
I've
the
heard about
attraction.
bombs.
Hydrogen bombs.
No, bonds. The attraction between
Mr. Multiple Oppenheimer.
partial positive, partial negative. The attraction between the partial positive, partial negative in molecules with each other. This is what happens inside of all types of molecules, and there's a reason biology talks about it. Biology is full of it. They're filled with partial positive, partial negative attractions and hydrogen bonds. If you look at DNA, DNA has a shape of a double helix. Why does DNA have the double helix? Because of the hydrogen bond between the nucleotides.
Big work going on.
So it gets the shape that it has. Whenever we look inside of our cells, we look at proteins. Proteins have hydrogen bonds in them. They are literally held together by hydrogen bonds. This is what is so beneficial for us. If we look at water, some people want to know, why don't the fish die when the pond freezes over?
Does the fish just freeze too?
Very interesting thing takes place. The hydrogen bonds between the partial positive, partial negative in the water creates this thing. It makes ice, the solid form of water, less dense than liquid water, which normally flips. But because of the partial positive, partial negative with the hydrogens and oxygens, ice floats. So whenever water freezes, it comes to the top and freezes. So there's liquid water at the bottom so the fish can stay alive. And people in Minnesota can be like, oh yeah, man, hey, those Vikings, I tell you, man. Let's go out and do some ice fishing, man.
I have this issue where I put all my fish.
All them Canadians, they get out there and they skate on that ice.
I tried ice skating once.
Right,
Did you fall?
off like the air.
I ain't gonna lie,
My butt still hurts.
we played hockey down there.
I kinda wish we did have.
I would play hockey instead of basketball.
Alright, so hydrogen bonds. Here's the
That
thing.
suck.
Hydrogen bonds are the strongest intermolecular force. Just because it's called a hydrogen bond does not mean it's an actual true bond. What that is an intermolecular force. This is the strongest. You want to know why whenever you put water inside of glass, you get a meniscus that forms? Why is it whenever we put water inside a glass, we can keep filling it up and there's a little bubble that can feel on the top of it? All this is because of hydrogen bonds. What this creates is with these hydrogen bonds come special properties.
Usually I can do that all my fish and go. Some random dude just come there and start shooting. I don't know why.
Start shooting. Snake. Check it.
So we get special properties. Some of these you probably heard of before. Cohesion, adhesion. Are you kidding me?
Sorry. Started bleeding.
So whenever we look at water, we get the special properties of water. So let's talk about the properties of water. So you want to talk about special properties of water, you first got to know where does all the properties of water come from? I'll give you a minute to think
Oh
to
my God,
yourself.
question. I had one of these in my hole.
I'll give you a minute, that's because you haven't been here, to think to yourself, where does all the properties of water come from? What causes them? Hey Siri, start a timer for 1 minute.
So how exactly does water, how exactly does it go from H2O to water?
Should.
In between first and second period, all Fuji orders need to be turned into mist green.
They can only get me a sushi deluxe.
Sushi in my fridge.
Girl.
That's a, I don't know that one.
No, it's for the picture.
That's my problem with the Asian things. They just all pop it. But like, my parents will get it, and then they'll put it in the car, and it just stinks up the whole car. I just don't like the way Asian food smells. It's stinky.
You racist?
I'm not racist.
All right, here we go.
People
Sue.
smell lovely, I'm sure.
I'm now going to give you a minute for you to discuss in your groups behind this. What gives water all of its special properties? David, how long I give you?
A minute.
Good. Nevaeh, what I ask you to do?
To talk in your groups about what gives water its special properties.
Awesome. And I love the enthusiasm this morning. I mean, you're bouncing off the walls. It's great. It's wonderful.
He's just so sweet.
Hey, Siri, start timing for 1 minute. I'm feeling great. It's been so long since I got to do
Mr. Hall, you wanna be part of our group?
Yeah, Mr. Hall, you wanna come be part of our group?
Cause we have no idea.
No, I got a good answer.
What about
Better
the
have an
box
answer.
says what they do on? What does that do?
Right?
In so many years.
He took oxygen and he took hydrogen and he put them together.
And I need him to have this, so he can explain
I didn't know cheese was made better. I thought it was gone.
Was.
Yeah. The whole cheese.
Anyways. Where's this all and what are the properties of water? What are the properties of water?
We got to get to them first.
I feel like.
Well,
I
that's,
feel like we skipped ahead.
I don't know the properties to be able to answer this.
Well, I feel like before exploring the properties of water, we should explore the properties of the person. Can make it at the same time. It's just like a party trip. It's so long to be friends with them back.
Probably. He created this stuff.
Hey, you want some,
Guarantees it's not.
hey, you want some wine? Sure.
Yes,
There's
sir.
a rucksack, turn that one on.
Take the shop.
What are they saying?
It was pretty funny. They
Yeah,
wanted to see
you know
the
those,
test, so I showed it.
When
Dude,
does
the
this all
guy that made
happen?
my table just turned water into wine.
You know those two,
What happened this year?
like they used to poison kingfish, like had that and you cover one of the holes and pour something else.
Yeah.
If you said that's just like water here, and then cover it with a hole and pour out
All
water.
right, come on. What are you thinking, okay? I got somebody that's got it, and it's not y'all.
We were explaining how to use the third water into wine.
Yeah, just
Okay.
have our-
All right, so you look at this. Where does all the properties, special properties from water, where does it come from?
Hydrogen bonds.
Where do the hydrogen bonds come from?
Jesus.
Oppenheimer.
So, when we look at this,
Oh, that's atomic bombs.
everything's gonna come from, the special properties of water comes from the hydrogen bond.
So I was right.
That was a dumb question.
But the only reason I got
That form,
I didn't know the answer, it's just what we went over before, so I'm assuming he was bringing it full circle.
from the partial positive, partial negative charges
Need for the following
Ian.
students to come to the office.
Polar
Please,
molecule.
David Klein, Braxton
Please
Blankenship,
don't give me.
Jalen Rutledge, Zane Cook, and Gavin Hatfield.
Bad marker.
Yeah,
I mean, with how hard you're pressing down on that, so.
that's because it wasn't, right.
Mr. Holbrook, I guess.
I had to put Sharky that out. So whenever you look at this, there are certain factors and things that we're gonna look at.
I'm gonna put it almost completely full. I'm gonna get one more,
If you crack these up.
I'm almost back to normal, I just try to get everything out. Okay, so whenever we look at this, There are special properties that come from this. So the first one we're going to talk about is adhesion. Hang on, somebody's going to look and say, "Did that adhere in there?" Kill me. So adhesion. What is
that a D or a
adhesion?
T?
What?
Is that a D or a T?
It's a D. There's a loop. So whenever we look at adhesion, if something adheres to something, what does it do?
Sticks. Stays together.
Go back.
Sticks.
It sticks to it. So if something's going to adhere to something, then it's going to stick. So adhesion is when water, this can be for other substances as well, sticks to other substances.
Ooh, imagine if water stuck to you.
Oh,
It's just a grim thought.
When this happens, there's a special thing that forms. We're going to look at this in one of your labs. May do it tomorrow, I can't decide. Yeah, we'll probably do it tomorrow because we're not ready for the other one. We'll do the other one next week. But whenever we look at adhesion, what is a thing that forms? We're going to have this discussion tomorrow. It is the meniscus.
like you and me.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, it's going for
But
midterm.
not that.
Adhesion's a midterm too.
Whenever we look at the meniscus that forms, what the meniscus is inside of a glass.
In them that protects your finger from beating off your
That
teeth.
Water
looks
pulls
like
up and creates a U. Why does it do this? Because of the partial positive, partial negative. It's attracted to the other substance and it adheres to it.
I've never.
This
seen
is like if you're at home and you're using some glass measuring cup and you put water in it. Let's say you want to make brownies and it's like you need 1 cup of water and you put the cup in there and you try to pour it slowly and it falls down the glass rim. Why does it happen? Because adhesion is taking place. It's attracted to the glass. The only way you're going to break it is dump it really fast. So this is the first property we look at, adhesion. Let's talk the second. Cohesion. Cohesion is special for whenever you look at water. The way I remember cohesion is in a couple. Cohesion is when water,
Oh, I thought you was gonna say from code as adhesion.
cohesion is when water sticks to itself. So the cohesion is when the water molecules are sticking to themselves. And this is why that was baloney, what the people came out with on YouTube when their stupid little videos that water is not wet. Water absolutely is wet. If you use their definition behind water being wet, guess what? By golly, it's wet!
I think that's how I got started. 3
Can
people were
I get
sent
like a
back
recording of you saying that? Because I literally had that argument with my dad yesterday.
Why is it stupid?
Thank God.
and the rest were like,
Oh, no, just
Tell
drink.
me what you record.
Stop being weird.
A singular molecule does not, that wouldn't necessarily be wet.
You gonna get a single molecule of water by itself? Good luck.
I mean,
Whenever you look at it, definition of something being wet is that water makes things wet because it surrounds the object with water. That's when it's wet, right? That's the definition they came up with for something being wet. Well, let me tell you what you got when you got water. You got water surrounding water. Therefore, water is wet.
I have
I
an
got
argument.
trash up in here.
I have an argument for you.
I
Uh-huh.
that argument. That argument.
No, you're right. No.
What if we're talking about the water molecule that's furthest away? He's on the outside, he's not surrounded.
So that's cohesion. Okay?
Are you wet if I only have to?
No.
So cohesion. Now, there's a lot of things that go into this. The bell's getting ready to ring. We covered a lot of things. We hit a little bit of review, and then we hit new stuff. Tomorrow, the lab you're going to do. You're perfectly fine to wear contacts. We're going to have a great, fun, wonderful day tomorrow. Make sure you have closed toe and entire foot is covered. Toms do not cover the entire foot, everybody.
Who's that?
So do not come in here wearing Toms. Have a great, wonderful rest of your day.